Welcome, welcome to Film Study and All-American Universe podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi, and wow, it feels like that. I mean, for some folks, it might feel like that break was quite long, but for me, it went by very fast, actually. But we back. Homecoming season 2 is in the books. It's on Netflix. It's still in top 10, I believe, as we're speaking, which congrats. I think that we'll find out more information about renewal within the next 2 weeks or so, specifically before, I want to say like May 8th or 18th or something like that. So anyway, we'll see. But they have an event coming like April, sometime next week in April 25th or 26th, something like that. So listen here, my Twitter, my Instagram, wherever. But here right now, we're talking about My Name Is episode 516, which is kind of crazy to say, of All American. Ready to get into it, Monda? Yes, Monda is back. For everybody who's been, where's Monda? Well, she on the pod. Now.
Yeah, I'm on hiatus from Twitter, but I'm on the pod. I'm back. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, this episode was written by John A. Norris, and this is shout out and congratulations to China Ledej, I think it is. Ledej.
Yes.
This is her first episode of television that aired, and that's like, it's an incredibly difficult feat to achieve. So not only was it China's first episode of television, but it was Karima's first, I want to say, television directing debut. I think that she's directed like short films, but like shout out to Karima Westbrook. Usually I let my guests go first, but I did want to shout this out. I think Karima did a great job, and I think China did a great job. I feel like my feelings on the episode, aside from my feelings about how they did their jobs, are like two different things for me.
I agree.
Because actually, and I was chatting about this with some people, but honestly, the episode structurally sound. Like, I think I laughed a couple of times. Well, I'll get into like which time specifically, but like I laughed. I think the episode was memorable. Usually I have to watch an All-American episode and I have to like watch it one or two times to catch like everything that happened. But honestly, as I was like taking notes the second row around, I was just like, I remember like pretty much everything that happened in this episode, which is not typically the case. And so again, I feel like that signified again that like the episode was structurally sound. I think the episode itself, like the given circumstances that they had to work with, weren't as exciting, and it came at a weird time. So we couldn't really like, I just think that the greater story, like where they are in this story, Karima and China weren't given much to work with in terms of their given circumstances, with the recruitment and the Quince and like needing to wrap up the JJ storyline and all that. But I'm like, give them another episode. I think that they're knocking it out of the park, because I feel like you could even see, like, again, I think Karima did an excellent job directing. Like, I love some of the shots that she did, and I think China did an excellent job writing what she was given to write. Like, this is one of the episodes she was contracted for, so she's not even in the writer's room full time. Like, she, they have to contract. Yeah, they have, a certain episodes per season that they sort of have to contract out to other people, like legally, I think. So this was like a contracted episode along with John Norris, who is like actually a writer on the show. And so anyway, congrats is all I have to say. The story was structurally sound, I think, even though the elements of the story itself weren't that exciting, I think. But also, like, Karima did a great job with her shot selection and the things that she brought out the actors. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. So what about you?
I want to say congratulations to the both of them as well. Like we said, it was not China's storyboard, so I'm not coming for China. I'm coming for the person whose storyboard it was. I'm just saying. this particular
Well, not on
episode.
that. I'm gonna put it on the people this time. I'm gonna put it on the whole writers' room.
Yeah, I don't care. But there's a head person in that writer's room. And
Yes,
y'all
there is.
knew that this filler episode right here
Well,
coming
now
off
there's
of the Greek
Co,
one.
right? Because
Huh?
there is now All American officially has a co showrunner.
Okay, okay, but I'm still giving it to that one. I'm not. I'm the
Of course
code.
you are.
You know I'm coming for that one. That
Of course
code
you
to the
are.
side. But considering coming off the grief episodes, this is not an episode I like anticipated. I really didn't. But like you said, it was sound. They were giving like different things, and then too, you know me. Any episode that is focused on the op, I got problems with because
Yeah,
I
and I'm kind
want.
of sad that like the first time we get to explore um, Latin, like Latino, some folks say Latinx culture. Um, I, I, I wish that it was in a different episode because I
Mm-hmm.
actually think that I've wanted, All American because like Latino Hispanic culture in LA is so prominent and
Yep.
so visible, and I just wish that they had a different episode to explore it. I don't know if they got and they did a wonderful job with what they did, but I'm just like I this feels like unfair that it happened in this episode
Yeah,
for me
for
because
where
I
it
love
is
the
and everything.
cultural,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I
So
agree.
anyway. And again, actually, that was my favorite part of the episode. I can strongly say was like the patience, Liv,
The
Layla
quinceañeras.
part of
Yeah,
the
I always
the
like
quince.
those type of
Quince.
episodes.
Yeah,
That's
I love culture. You know us. Y'all
yeah,
know
we
us.
love
Y'all
stuff
know we
like that.
study this exactly.
So,
So let's get into JJ. Um, JJ, as Jordan says, and I did personally identify with this line because I feel a little bit right burning the candle at both ends. They love that
hmm
phrase because we've heard it a couple times on the show, but burning the candle at both ends, and I feel like that's just a general phrase that people say. But he's tired. Dude is tired. He stayed at the beach house, which he doesn't technically live at anymore because the frat house was partying all the time. So anyway, he talks to the president of the frat about leaving, like he told Asher that he would, but then he gets voted in recruitment chair because he is the party. And so they asked JJ to host the event at the beach house so that they can have alcohol, I believe it was.
yeah,
And it's boring, right? They have a whole conversation about hot dogs, which I also was just like, these lines are funny. And it's just like, I just wish the, this writer got to explore more of her funny side because I was just like, it's the circumstances. It's just the circumstances.
yeah.
But have a whole thing about the hot dogs or whatever.
The
And
vegan
then,
dogs.
yeah, the vegan dogs. And then it's just like he goes to sleep. The president talks about some party favors, which is like drugs, uppers, whatever. Then, the party's just not going well. There's a legacy kid in there too that they're trying to impress.
Who's annoying, by the way.
JJ
I'm with
eventually is like,
JJ.
okay, I'm gonna be the party again. Goes to get the party favors. Dude basically overdoses. There's a serious situation, and then JJ has this situation where he's like, I can't be here. I can't even do the football thing. I can't be the party. I need to like reevaluate my life.
And he's like, I want to be able to look at the person who's looking back at me.
Exactly, exactly. What did you think about that? What did you think about that?
I like JJ's storyline because I always have a
You
soft spot for
did?
JJ.
Ugh, I know. I don't.
I've
I
always,
just
I just wanted to
and I
knock
feel
him
like
out.
I've always like I never have like even when people were rooting for this man, I was just like, okay, he's there to serve a purpose. He's very clearly this character that like is not supposed to be taken seriously. So I don't. Anyway, go ahead.
I,
But you've
I,
always had a soft spot
I,
for him.
you see how you just like this is like I don't okay.
I
Except
truly
for what
don't.
he said about Liv and Layla early in the season where I wanted to deck him. I've always had a soft spot for JJ. And so to see that he has like realized like what's important. What I don't like, or what I've heard, it seems as if JJ is gonna do his like regroup off screen, and like they wrapped up everything like in a like tight neat bow. And he's like, I'm gonna go work on myself. I appreciate Asher saying you don't have to do this alone. and like we're here for you. And he's like, yes, I do. But when he says he's doing it alone, he's probably going home with his family. But he just is not going to take the vortex, which thank gosh he's not with him to do that. But I appreciate JJ like recognizing like he can't go down this road. He does not want to be like his friend, and that impacted him because he. The night that Liv overdosed, he wasn't around. Jordan was the one who found her, so he got to see that experience up close and personal. So yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate Asher trying to get him on the right track. But I don't even really like Asher like that. So yeah, I appreciate you, Ash, for that 2 seconds.
I I like that you're taking the history because I do think let me separate JJ. I think up until they wanted to like do more serious things with JJ. I feel like it's just never really landed the them trying to get deeper with JJ because he's so in and out and even after he became I think they upped Hunter to a season regular, he still was in and out.
Yeah.
And so it's like they almost didn't know where to take his story because it was just like, is he an alcoholic? Now they've introduced this pills thing, like the party favors thing. And it just, and I don't usually talk about this, but I'm also just like, is Hunter connecting to the material?
He's
I don't,
not because I don't think he
it
is
just
because he hasn't had time to sit in it.
feel like he's there
Right.
anymore. And even in that last scene, I think with Asher, which I thought was like the most heartfelt thing, the thing is like I'm saying, like the words were there, but I was just like, I feel it from Asher,
Right.
and I don't feel it from Hunter, and I hate saying that, but it was almost unignorable.
Come to
In
my
the
side,
episode.
Lexi, because I will say stuff like that. Come to my side. Yep.
Yes, I-
Come to my
but I'm just
side.
saying, and I'm just taking it from the thing is, I just don't know if Hunter is connecting to that because again, I felt it with Asher, and these are the types of moments that you really have to connect
Right.
to the material because it was, you know, you have to believe that I don't want to be the party, but it just fell flat, and I don't know if it's because he's being reintroduced and like his story is being reintroduced and sort of it's being picked up and left off, or what's going on with
I think
that.
he
But go ahead.
I think he connected a little bit more to when JJ came intoxicated to the baker's house. He felt a little more
Yeah,
connected
I
there.
felt it a little bit more. I
He
felt it a
felt a
little bit
little bit more
more.
connected there, but when as I felt that they've switched it from him having an alcohol problem to them being a party person. Is like he the first part of the season and even up until when he came to the baker's house was about
It
alcohol
was about
and food.
alcohol, and then they
Yes,
suddenly introduced pills, and so it just feels like they're it felt like they were trying to do something deeper, but then they needed a quick way to wrap it up because this felt very neatly tied. And so, once again, I don't know why that is, but you know, it didn't connect as it should have with
because
me.
they could have connected if they stayed on alcohol and Liv was the one and Asher was the one who like came to him and
Right, it just
everything.
felt and it
That
felt
would have been so
incredibly
connected.
separated. Like Asher is coming for why are we seeing in the like again just a part of the story. JJ's not here enough for us to follow him on his own,
Right.
and that's what we did for the majority of the episode. I think that we, if not saw them the same amount, we saw him more than we saw the girls, and that was just very odd.
Yeah. Yeah, it
It
was.
was
I
just
said
very
it was
odd.
a JJ and the op episode because they
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
switching off between the
But
two.
even more than Coop, that's what I'm saying. It was almost like the B plot line of the episode, which didn't make sense to me. just did not make sense. But anyway, it just feels like this is wrapped up, and I just hope that this is the last that we hear of it. I don't remember if he's mentioned in other synopses. I think he like makes a surprising appearance later on down the line, but I'm just like,
Probably
I
at
just
the
want,
like last episode, because I think that's supposed to
yeah,
be like a party of some kind.
exactly. So I'm just hoping that we move on just because this story is getting more and more confusing and
And
convoluted,
it's
I
just
think.
done. Let's just
Yeah.
let's just be done with it.
Let's quit while we're ahead. That sounded so bad, but I'm tired,
You
so take
sounding
that
like
into account.
me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Um, speaking of Coop,
See, you call it a coop. That's the op, and will always be the op. But yeah, speaking of the op, go
the
ahead.
op, uh, Coop tells Skye that she'll be at her presentation. This is after she talks to Layla, and Layla has to remind her. Actually, not even remind her.
No, inform her.
Inform her that her girlfriend has a very important presentation at LA Con, like LA Influencer Con, something like that. Which we know this guy is like a really big influencer. And that wasn't a small space that they was at. That was a whole like convention center. It looked like at least a
For
conference hotel.
Sky. It's a
Literally,
for a Sky storyline
I think
slash
she was the
because
key.
yeah.
Yeah, she was the keynote speaker, which I actually enjoyed seeing. I don't know, us dive deeper into Sky for that little bit because I felt like it's something that fit. Because they like actually have spent a great deal of time like talking about how she does have advice and how she really is good at what she does. Um, so yeah, Layla tells Coop about this presentation. Coop then goes to Sky, and we see.
I missed the
I kind of
grandma.
forgot that they met each other through the grandmother because I'm like, why are we meeting Sky's grandmother? And then I remembered that like Coop's a
I
grandma.
smiled when I saw the grandma. I love the
But
grandma.
like it's been so long with this that I like forgot that she had a grandmother and that's how they met.
She was like, I need somebody to watch General Hospital with me. And the op was all embarrassed. Like, yep, I love the grandma. I love the grandma.
Literally. So Coop tells Sky that she'll be at a presentation. Her
Live. Just,
professor gives her a spot to enroll in class instead of audit, but then
couldn't
tells
she
her
even enroll? Isn't it too late in the semester? I was
that's what I'm
clocking
saying.
that.
I'm like, is this must just be like literally for a class credit? Like she's not enrolled in the school. There's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah, I think it's literally just she's getting credit for this class. It's almost like what people do in high school when they do like dual
Right.
enrollment. Like you're getting credit for the class. Um, and so he tells her that she needs to participate in the study group that's like meeting today, and then he recommends less street slang going forward.
Basically, he wanted her to code switch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
code switch, code switch, code switch. But for folks that don't know what code switch is, he wanted her to speak
Sound
less
more
street.
professional.
Yeah, sound more professional. Um, so Coop misses Sky's talk. Tries to impress the study group, right? This is one of my favorite lines, and I hate that it's a Coop line, but it was hilarious. One of
I
my
was so
favorite lines of the episode. The case was about a young kid, if I recall. Like I'm so these are the little moments that tells you that like China is actually the writer, the co-writer of this episode is like actually hilarious because to keep coming up with like different ways to be uncomfortable trying to sound professional is hilarious.
Oh, and the op was struggling. Like, we are
She
so
was
happy.
struggling. And shout out to Breezy for her delivery of that.
Yeah.
But the if I recall
I
it's
was like, and we are
hilarious.
under the professor's tutelage. I was like,
Exactly.
you're almost there. You're almost there. So, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, does that, obviously recognizes that she can, then ends up, later on in the study group just speaking how she normally talk, as she should. And, then goes, I think Skye comes to the Baker house,
Yep. Sky for the Baker House. Yeah.
talks to Skye, goes on and on about her entire day to Skye.
And we,
Completely forgets about Skye's presentation. Like, doesn't even what is a presentation?
Sky's like,
Um,
you forgot about something?
Literally, And then she says, "Calm down, Skye. You're acting like I don't love you." And I love this. This is what I'm saying. There were so many good lines in this that it was just like, this is
Sky was like, "Is that how you
actually.
gonna tell me you love me for the first
She
time?"
was literally like, I can't, but like, that's how. That's
She,
how you're gonna say I love you for the
if
first time.
she could
Because
say
remember,
"fool, please,"
she
she would
very
have said it.
very pointedly did not say I love you back to her the last time she
She
was here.
was like, "I'm done."
And that's what she said. She was just like, all you had to do was apologize, take some
Some
responsibility,
responsibility.
some responsibility, but more excuses. And this was really interesting because it was really, I think, really funny that they had the girls live Layla in patience, see that Coop had just completely ignored Skye. And I was like really wondering, I wonder what this is like for Patience to witness, because at the end of this episode, when Skye was told Coop, I'm out, I'm out. And for that reason, I'm out, just like Shark Tank, right? But when Skye told her that, it was just like, are the writers doing this intentionally? Because this is showing that Coop has not grown and she still is the same
Selfish
girl. The same
individual.
selfish girl, like the same selfish girl, just with a little bit more law school knowledge.
Yeah, it's weird because I felt like in the past episodes they were trying to redeem Coop in every way possible, including having Liv apologize to that girl, and I slightly throw up in my mouth every time I think about that. Um,
Right? Not happy
but
about
then
that.
this is the show
Talking
like
about,
Coop.
I'm jealous. Get out of here.
Oh, but Coop needed to have like a mirror put up, like this is who you are, and are you going to change? And I can see down the line we'll talk about in future predictions and how like Coop is going to prove to certain people that she's different. And I really just wanted her, like Skye to take Coop with the op with her and never bring her back, but that's
But
never going to
see,
happen.
I was happy that Skye finally returned to the Skye that she is, because I think, like I've said this before on the podcast and like several times with different people, Skye's always presented as somebody that doesn't take crap.
Right.
And with Coop, she just continually took crap. And so it was just finally you're just really saying how you feel, and finally you're not dealing with this from somebody who obviously just does not care for you as much as they say they do and as much as you care for them. And that's from the jump. Remember, from the
Yeah,
jump.
from the jump.
From the jump. So it was really good for her to just be sort of wipe her hands with it and say, I'm out. That's how you finna say I love you? Okay, bye. Like, and just do it like that. Just
and
leave.
and you
Not
you
listen.
seem to not care about what I'm doing, nor do you want to take responsibility to where we're at this moment. Why am I wasting my
Yeah, and
time?
not prolong it and not let Coop sort of sweet talk her way out of it, because I think that that's, what we've seen in the past. But for her to literally just say, I'm done, and leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I loved it. I'm gonna go to Spencer and Jordan just because I want to end on the girls, even though Spencer and Jordan, I think technically were the A storyline.
Yeah, they were.
Grace dropped off plays
Oh,
Corey and Billy made, which, let me say this up front.
we love
I
Karima.
we love Karima though. Yeah, we were talking earlier about how it was like even just the mention of Grace's name
Grace
bothered,
irritates us.
but it's more irritating for me at certain times, and I think this is one of them. I wish that the writers as a whole would spend more time going deeper into what they've already established than sort of finding lines of convenience. And I don't mind lines of convenience. I really don't. But obviously, with Billy's death, there have been a lot,
Of things that
a
just pop up out of nowhere.
lot of things that are just popping up. And I'm just do not, because I don't like Billy, obviously, but I'm just not connecting with it. because where is this coming from? We're in season 5 and we've never heard of this before. We know Corey and Billy as people who were okay, and then like Grace got in between them, and they were rivals. Like, what
Right.
are we doing? What do you
Um,
mean they came up with plays together? Was this in middle school?
they had to be. They had to be like middle school, early part of high school before like she came in between the two of them. So because the way
Right.
the writing looked, it looked like old school writing. So it had to be like very young, because she came in between them like near their like senior year.
Very
So it
early
had
on,
to be
yeah.
when they were like sophomores, juniors.
Yeah, yeah. I think she came between them in junior year, right? Or no? I
No
don't know.
telling. She comes between people all the time. So no telling when she. Let me stop. Let me
But
stop.
even
Dial it
like,
back.
and let
Dial
me
it back.
relate this back to, let me give a better example that also, or let me give a comparison example that happened in this episode as well, is JJ and uh, somebody said, oh, the president saying, like, oh, you still pay rent there, right? And it was just like, no. He left and said that he wasn't going to pay rent anymore. There was a
Right.
whole pointed line about good luck paying rent. So
And
now
finding
you're
out who,
telling
yeah,
us,
pay for rent. By the
no,
way,
now
how
we're
are they
fighting.
paying for that place if he's not paying rent? There's no way.
And that's the
Who's
thing, because
covering
remember
that?
they all in, a season ago they all were giving the rent to him, so clearly that house is in his name. So it it's these little things that it's I wish the detail. I'm just such an attention to detail person, and
Me
the details
too.
of that just bug me, especially when it's like blatant, because they're adding in things that clearly are sort of add-ins, especially with Billy.
I'm just tired
Especially
of
with
hearing
Billy. I'm
everything
just
new about
tired of
Billy.
hearing I'm tired of hearing
Ugh.
about Hero Billy. I truly, truly am.
Let the characters just mourn you without them trying to highlight how amazing
your
you were
your
in your.
pops was brilliant. Like, oh, your
No,
pops
he
just he
wasn't.
just
He was a
saw it out of the
deadbeat
like we
father.
have literally when did we ever in the entire 4.5 seasons that we were here, I've never seen Billy draw up a play in his life.
And
He
have a
literally
whole
would
book.
let
Now
other people.
it could be Corey who did most of like the drawing of those, and
But
Grace Hattie.
and then, well, and then the list of players. So let's talk. Let's get back
Okay.
to the
Sorry, we had
on
to go
that.
into.
Sorry about that diatribe, but let's get back to the storyline. So Billy did have this list of players that he was going to give second chances to, and it inspired Spencer's own list, which I was like, okay, Spencer, this part wasn't clear. I mean, I think that they're saying that Spencer developed his own list, but what happened to the list of players that Billy
They
Billy had for second chances?
they had his list, which was right there, and I think he took like a couple of people, including the guy that he brought to GAU from Billy's list, because they
Oh, and
talked
then
about the
added
person.
more people.
Yeah, he added more people, but they pulled
Okay.
people from Billy's list, including the guy he
Okay.
brought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that part wasn't clear to me, but just because it was just like he was just like, yeah, they inspired my old list, and I was just like, okay. But the point is, they had a list of people to give second chances to, and this was Billy thinking outside of the box, right? Which, to be fair, we have seen him do with Jabari and,
Yeah.
with, etc. Even with the kicker, right? But,
Yeah.
like thinking about the outside of the box with the kicker. So I didn't mind that. It was really just the plays that bothered me.
Yeah. As a person who loves collegiate football and have seen stories like this actually exist, and then bringing people back because they have eligibility and various things, I like this storyline.
I like this storyline too. I just think it was the coming off of a a break
Yeah.
was a little harder to, I think, digest
Digest.
for some folks. But again, I think it was structurally sound, and I actually the pieces of it. I just wish it was given a little bit more. And that is also where one of my critiques is that, we're trying to wrap up this JJ storyline, and then we're doing this whole Coop thing with Skye, and I feel like the recruiting storyline was given a good amount of space, and I wish we got that with when we get to the girls. But I feel like we always talk about
But
that.
you know how they always get the short
We
end of the
Yeah.
stick. So
So I enjoyed the like the message behind the story of this story, and actually I enjoyed the people that they introduced too.
yeah,
I think it was a little too neat and tight, which someone said that as well, and I agree that it was a little too neat and tight. But this is sort of reestablishing the normal after Billy died, so I understand why it was a little
you
neat
know
and tight.
what's interesting is I like the dynamic between Coach Kenny and Spencer and Jordan. He'd be like,
Hmm.
"Y'all trying me, y'all trying me. Let me do this," but still like listening to them. I
Yeah,
just like Coach Kenny. I really do. I really do. So
me too. I wish that they would give Coach Kinney a staff. I'm like, where are the other
yes,
coaches? This is not a. I need to see like where's the new wide receivers coach? We haven't seen him like hiring
yeah.
anybody. So I didn't even see another coach on the field. I was
Nope,
very
it was just
confused.
him.
It was literally just him, and I'm like, I don't know if this is. We need at least like especially because Billy would always have. They literally would always bring back Spencer Pacing, the real
Right,
Spencer, to
and
be
he
one of the coaches in the back. Billy always had two coaches with him at least, and so I just think that they need to either get some, sort of long term background actors or long term, like featured background somebody to stand behind Kenny to show that there's more coaches on the team.
I agree.
But yeah, love the storyline. Getting to be introduced to Kai and Sal, and like really good stories, right? Pulled the scholarship because he had a kid. Garrett pulled
I
the scholarship because
like
Kai had a
Kai's
kid.
kid.
It was you. Wait, you didn't or you did?
I liked his kid.
Oh no, me too. It was
I like
adorable.
his kid. He's adorable. He's like, I want to play baseball. When Jordan
I
was
want to
like,
play.
we, I see you as a future in being a future quarterback. He's like, I like baseball. He's like, you would.
And then Sal and his family being without a home, and that's why he went to jail. And so getting his fuller story, and I really appreciated that. And again, this is something that All American does well is expanding the view of what it means to be, I'll say, an underrepresented person.
Yes, that's a nice
And
way to say that.
fully fleshing out their stories because I think it goes beyond black men. Obviously, the central
Yes,
character is a black man and the central story is black men, but filling out these stories to say, stop and consider, especially black and brown men, stop and consider who this person is instead of going to your reactionary, sort of seeing them and viewing them as a threat. And I think they do an excellent job. And this story was just another example of that.
yeah, because I've seen a recruit actually get his scholarship pulled because he had a child, and they couldn't like want him to bring his child on campus. And he was like, I'm a single father, and had to go to another institution. So literally, I was like tearing up because I was like, I've seen that happen up close and personal.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I
and
really
then I was like, I
appreciate.
hate Garrett even more now. So
Yeah, hey,
yeah,
yeah. Garrett is definitely an enemy. And so they invite them to the workout. Obviously, Kenny was upset because he told him not to get their hopes up. But even though they had
yeah.
rust, they showed out. And Kenny was like, "Let me see that list again. Let me see that list again." And obviously they both got scholarships. Kai Jordan told Kai that like childcare is included, which was amazing.
Yeah. And Manu was like, take it, take it.
Take it. And then Kenny told Sal with Spencer in the room about giving him a scholarship and getting him back on the team. Two things here. Did we see the twinkle in Jordan's eye? Jordan is ready to be a dad.
You know what? I'm gonna need you not. I'm gonna need you not to do that. No, no, no. I saw the fact that he connected to the young boy because his dad at one point
He sure
played.
connected. He
You know
connected
what?
quite
We're not
right.
doing that. He is too
I'm
young, and
just
my
saying,
sister's too
Layla, you
young for
better watch
kids.
out.
My baby
Layla,
sibling, my twin siblings are too young for kids.
they
Let's not
are
do
too
that.
young for kids. I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying, Jordan. You better
He was
put
just
that twinkle
reminiscing.
back in your eye.
No, he was just reminiscing to the fact that his dad's not around, and so the father son thing and looking up to his father is what
Sure,
he was looking at and what
sure,
he admired.
sure.
That's where I'm leaving it at. I'm leaving
He
it
saw
there,
a white
Layla
picket
fan.
fence.
So Erica, when you listening, Brittany, if you listening, that's where I'm leaving it.
He saw a white picket fence.
Nah,
Anywho,
nah, he did. He saw what he
Anywho,
used to admire in his dad when his dad would take him to places for sports. That's what he saw.
speaking of, I'm gonna get back to the second thing with Spencer, because I said two things, but this comes back up when we touch to the end of the girls' storyline, and so this was my favorite part of the episode, obviously because of my two faves, my
Oh
two
my
firsts.
Atlanta. Go ahead.
But at the top, Layla's like getting the mock up for Keating Records' new logos.
What did you think of
Obviously,
those logos? Be honest.
um, what did I think about? I didn't think like I didn't really have any thoughts about
They
them.
were blah. I wanted something better for her. I was like, I need something
Yeah,
better
but
for
I feel
Keating
like
Records.
the
I
yeah,
did. I was looking out for
I
her
had
because
no
you know me and
thoughts. Let
Lele.
me leave it at that. Let me look at that.
You know me
I
and
had no
Lele.
thoughts.
We be always beefing, but I do be looking out for her as a black woman. I was like, we need better logos.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think it was just because it wasn't supposed to be right. That was the purpose of the story. Is that it
Yeah,
wasn't
I
supposed to
still
be
need
just
people to
Keating.
come a little bit better for her like that. Okay, I'm just
You
saying.
said set designers.
So I need y'all to bring it. I
I
need.
need
She's a
y'all to
black
bring
woman
it.
leading this. She needs some good logos. She needs some good logos.
And so she talks to Coop about that. Also, we also mentioned that like Sky's presentation, which by the way, another little crumb there, right? Do you know where Jordan is? Yes, I do.
And
Yep,
then
they
she,
meet you with the coach.
and then she's like, I think y'all need to take a little space apart, just a little,
And
just a
Layla
little.
was like, oh, it's coming from the person whose girlfriend is about to break up with her. No, thank you. I won't take your advice. As you shouldn't, Layla.
I can't.
Keep knowing where Jordan is. Keep knowing where
I
Jordan is.
can't.
Um, but anyway, then later, Liv and Layla talk about that, and particularly talk about can't win situations, right? As Layla is thinking about her record label and changing it from for Monica to Keating, Liv is really considering again this, and I really appreciated that it brought back up these storylines that they had to pause for the grief episodes, but Liv bringing back up this struggle that she's had with the pseudonym
Yeah, and then not being nominated for an
be
award.
it and in Layla's words, right? Not any award, the
The
award,
award.
the award. And so she was saying that she wished she had never used the pseudonym,
And she used a
and then
pseudonym for two knuckleheads. But I digress. Go ahead.
Jaden Davis exactly. And so Jaden got invited, Olivia did not. And then in an attempt, I think, to make her feel better a little bit. She was just like, I'm surprised that you didn't use your other pseudonym, Larissa Myers, right? And so then they talk about these alter egos that they made up in middle school, and Liv's was Larissa Myers.
And Layla's was Bella
Bella
Swan.
Swan, and I was like, I need you to be serious. Even if they were middle schoolers, I need them to be serious.
But at that time, the
No, it
Twilight,
was huge. No, I know it was
yeah, huge. Which
huge,
I
but it
never
was
watched any of those movies. I refuse
still
because half of them
hilarious.
people can't act. But okay, keep going.
It
I'm
was
sorry. I
cute
didn't.
though. It was a cute little memory. And so she's just like, well, we can't go back to the middle school days, but she invites Liv to Sky's Talk to
Can we just pause for 2 seconds there?
yeah.
Lele, Patience, and now Liv all are going to Sky's talk as if Sky is their girlfriend, as if Sky is their like best friend, and the
You
op.
think best friend?
I'm saying as the way it is, like as if they're like
Or like
I'm
literally
exaggerating,
showing up for her, yeah.
showing up while the op knew nothing of it, and they're like, you know what? She's now invited to the cookout. She's a cook to the vortex, and the op knows nothing. Like
Yeah.
Patience, the ex, is
But
going
it
to
also
show up.
shows, I think, that they've actually set that up quite well because,
Yeah,
Sky, a couple of episodes ago, we saw
help
Sky
Patience.
wanting to, yeah, help patients. And even before that, like, wanting to get involved and, like, expand her brand and, work with Layla and work for Monica Records and, like, again, sort of just establish sort of a new sort of business venture with that. And so I think that it made sense, but it also just pointed out how
The op
Coop
sucks as a
obsessed
girlfriend.
Coop is always.
Coop is
Always. And it's
obsessed
funny
with of two things: herself and Spencer.
that
If it ain't
always that
about her and Spencer, she could care two
everybody
flying
else can kick
pigs.
rocks. Everybody else can kick rocks. Um And look, that's why when they and speaking back at the influencer bit, that's why they all had nothing to say when Skye said, "Oh, is Coop here?" And all they could say was, "Oh,
Um,
I'm sure something came up," because they all know Coop. They know her, especially Patience, and Patience ain't say nothing.
not at all. Not a
Not a
word.
thing. Not a thing. As she shouldn't. As she shouldn't. Because that's not her business anymore. She's, I'm gonna mind my business. I'm gonna mind my own. Um, but when they're leaving that talk, again, they're just thinking about like where they are in life right now. Layla comes up with this fun sort of idea to sneak into a quinceañera. And I love it because not Chelsea flexing her Spanish. I said, okay.
You better and get y'all into that because I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep it real, audience. If I was with them, I would try to sneak in too because those parties are ridiculously fun.
I haven't snuck into a quince, but I've snuck into a
I've been
wedding
to
before
one and they
with
are
a good
amazing.
friend,
I
with
would have
one of my
snuck
best
in.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's so fun. It's so fun. You got to sneak into a party at least once in your lifetime,
yeah.
I
I
think.
would have snuck in that quinceanera because them they are off the chain. So yeah.
Literally, literally. Also, the wedding that I snuck into was hilarious because it was a quite quite predominantly white wedding, and me and my friend were both black women.
Like y'all wouldn't stand out.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Tell me why. And this is sorry, I'm not even gonna get into the story. I'll tell you offline. So anyway, sneak into a party is all I'm saying. And so they like dance and have a good time, and it was good to see them have a good time
Yes.
because we like almost never get that.
I'm I'm mad because there was a gentleman who pulled Liv onto the floor and we did
And we
not
didn't
get
get
to
to
see
see,
them
and
dance.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm
It
like,
just I
why? I wanted to
wish
see that.
they literally only had about I won't obviously it was probably more than this, but only about 4 scenes dedicated to this. And I'm like, why did we see so much of JJ and so little of this? Like we didn't get to see the depth of this story
Mm-hmm.
because we were seeing the depth of JJ's story, and I don't think that was needed or necessary.
I agree. I totally agree. It also would have gave people who've never seen a quinceanera and never experienced the Latinx
Yeah.
culture to actually see what that truly looked like.
And how embedded that is in LA life. Like it was sort
Yeah,
of it was a line in passing, right? That Patience said, like, you can't be from LA and not know a little bit of Spanish, but it's the truth, it's the
it's the
truth. And
truth.
so, yeah, just to give this, give it its just due, I think. But so they sneak into the quince, they have fun. Karima got some great shots
Really good
just
shots.
with Sam and Greta and Chelsea, with
And
the
even
little when
the
they were
father
trying the
daughter
food.
dance.
Yes, even the
I
father
love
daughter
those
dance,
shots.
because even literally that whole how that worked in Secession. So the speech that Valerie, who was the girl who was becoming a woman, um, and that's the whole purpose of a quinceañera. I don't know if we said that at up top, but it's
Yeah.
when you turn 15 in the Latina community, you're becoming a woman now. And so she was talking about how her daughter wanted to hyphenate her name because she is a little bit of her mom and a little bit of her dad. And so that connected and resonated with Layla. And then the father daughter dance that came right after that connected and resonated with Liv. And
Can
so it
I?
was great to see them reflect on that. Go ahead.
Okay. I love the father daughter dance scene. I love it, and I love like seeing Liv getting emotional and Lele comforting her. What I would have loved to see, and this is not on Creamer. This is on the person who's in that writing room, that head woman. I would have loved to see when Liv looked out. Liv actually saw that man that I don't like and a smaller version of her dancing as when they were little. And so that would have been so much more impactful. That was just me. That scene was still beautiful.
Yeah, I think the scene was. I mean, I did personally. It could. Yeah, I think what you said could have added. I like the scene as is. I loved it. I don't know. I think it was cute. I think it was
Yeah, it was.
and touching without being like so heavy handed. But it was just a beautiful moment. And then obviously Patience, who, has been down for the majority of the season, was actually excited to go when the girl recognized her and was like, "Are you Patience?" And, was happy to go and sing for her. So it was good to see. And obviously that led to Patience saying she misses the old Patience, which we've
All have.
had several times. We've seen it. Of course, you talk about this every other episode. But anyway, she finally was able to pinpoint it, that she misses the old Patients, because I don't think that she was able to pinpoint it before, which makes it, they're young. I have to remind myself that they're young. And Layla decides to change For Monica Records to For Monica Keating Records.
Which I
And
love.
then, yes, which I loved as well. And then Liv, wants to honor her father, and she talks about it with Jordan, right? And she's reflecting on the fact that she went to a quince, and she sort of cries and has this moment with Jordan, which was beautiful,
It was so
about
beautiful.
not being able to walk, Billy not being there to walk her down the aisle or have a father-daughter
Won't be
dance, and
left.
Jordan's
Or
like,
won't dance with
"I'm gonna
her.
be there for all of it, or just to be sad." And I was like, exactly, Jordan.
Can I just say, when he said that, I was like, Jordan, I love the fact that you're going to be there and be the one to walk her down the aisle and the one who's going to dance with her. But I would love it if my mama Laura walked her down the aisle
Yeah,
too. I was like,
definitely.
but I appreciate the scene because it really hit her. And it hit him how like special those moments will be for her, and that their dad
Definitely.
is not there. And
Definitely.
so yeah, I appreciate that scene. It was very, I love my Baker twin scenes,
Yeah,
and
no, I
that
loved
was a
it. It was
beautiful.
such a, I think it was the best scene in the show, just that
Yeah,
moment that the
that
two
was a
of them had,
beautiful one.
plus the quince. And so, Spencer then comes into the living room and says, both to Spencer and Jordan, like, "I'm going to announce that I wrote the article because it's the last thing that I did with Dad. So win or lose, I'm going to honor the work that we both did." The music in that scene, the shot with the hands was beautiful. And
Yeah.
it's just one of my favorite scenes. So I love the way that the episode ended on that touching moment, for all of them. And I'm just sort of noticing the connection between middle school and the quince. And I didn't notice that at first, but now I'm like loving it even more.
I
Just the age, because I
yeah.
didn't put two and two together before.
I love, so I had predicted that Liv would go back once I realized that that man was dying or was gonna die. That Liv was gonna like claim her name back because that was the last thing she did with him. Because
Yeah,
actually, let's be honest, that's the only thing she did with him. Because for 4.5 seasons he did nothing. He didn't act like she exists. But okay, I'm gonna keep it real and keep it funky on this podcast. So I knew that that was gonna happen, but they both needed to hear, and they're like, "It's okay, it won't affect us." I was like, she really didn't care. She was sharing it with
right.
y'all,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she was gonna do it for her and the person that she loves. I'm not gonna give him all that because I don't love him. I don't like him. So yeah,
Could I add this?
yeah,
And it just bothers me that I am even saying this, but getting back to this point as we shift into predictions, the episode sort of review is over, but this is just another small critique, just in general, is Spencer is absolutely the protagonist in the central part of the show, but I feel like sometimes the right, and we've talked about this before, particularly in episode 7,
yes.
when he was the last one to speak to her. Literally, that's funny because that's the
We
last
were
time
like,
we were
you didn't
on.
have to be the last one to speak
He
to her. She
didn't
was
have to
already
be
there.
there.
Yep, we did that.
Just
Yep.
like he didn't necessarily need to be in the room with Kenny and Sal, and just like he didn't need to be in the room with Jordan and Liv. I feel like Jordan and Liv's scene was cut short because they just wanted Spencer there, and I don't feel like that needed to happen organically. Like she could have told him at a
Told him
different
like next
time.
week.
She could have told him in the next episode. Like
I
why
would have.
couldn't it just be Jordan and Liv?
Yeah,
Like
and
why
I
did
and I
Spencer
want y'all to
need to be
understand,
there?
like, yes, I feel some way about Spencer as y'all follow me, but it was just how the storytelling would have been. It would have been
Yeah,
very
it's just
impactful.
yeah, it's
Just
not even about Spencer itself. It's just
yes,
about the fact that we don't he is the protagonist, but we don't need him in
in those
every
crucial
single
scenes.
scene
Yeah.
for every single occurrence. And it just brought that back to my mind with this one, because, you know, we're seeing Jordan and Liv have this deep moment, especially because it's like their relationship has evolved since Billy has died. They have been there for one another since Billy has died, especially Jordan for Liv. And so the fact that that moment was cut short, and the fact that it was like called out, right? Jordan was like, "Oh, why are you here?" And she was like, "Oh, you're not at home," which was funny.
He was like, "You
But
don't just come and visit." He's like, "I can't just come and
yeah,
visit."
and so it was even a call out that like their relationship has changed in that way, that she's even going to talk to him about this. And so we could have gotten a solo, I think, Spencer and Liv scene in the next episode, and it, you know, didn't necessarily have to be with this one. But I love the scene
Because we're
itself.
gonna get a Mama Laura and Liv regarding this next episode. And it could have been the same with Spencer and Liv.
Right. But I did love the hands and the really beautiful moment that they had. And so that's it.
Beautiful. It was the big three. I like the big three. It started with the three of them in the house, in the baker's house. So
yeah. So on to predictions. Thanks for listening to Film Study and All American Universe podcast. Stay tuned for our predictions.